All right, we're live.
Awesome.
Awesome. Nick, last time we talked, you were all in on Nifty Gateway. You had made like, I think 40K or something like that. And that was, 6 months ago now. Tell me a little bit about your journey from Nifty Gateway, Nick, to OpenSea Master.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. So actually, when we talked, I think like on paper, I was up like 100K, and then 2 weeks after the interview, I like cashed out with like 45K left. It just like absolutely collapsed, and that was like right around the time when like in the news everyone was like NFTs are dead question mark, because like it just looked like
Yeah.
Top Shot was down, Nifty Gateway was down, OpenSea really wasn't as big of a thing, at least yet back then. Um, but from like April to May, it was a really slow, like bear market. I made some money like flipping me bits, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't really like go back into NFTs like I did on Nifty Gateway until right around like Memorial Day, so like May 31st ish. Um, and I forget who told me, like someone told me about Bored Ape Yacht Club, and like I hopped in and like I saw just like it was an insane amount of volume of people buying, and this was at like when Bored Apes was at like zero point 0.6 to 1 ETH,
Yeah.
and I literally bought like 12 of them, and then had like an oh shit moment, like I own 30 or $40,000 in these apes. And like at the time it just like, now it all seems so certain, but at the time it
Yeah.
really, especially with my PTSD from Nifty Gateway, I was like, I flipped, like half of them for like 1 ETH profit or something like that. But like that's when the music started again. And after that, like
Yeah.
Bonsais came out, Gutter Cat gang came out, and then like the just explosion that we've seen over the past couple of months like started like ramping up. And I just went from like I went all in. Like I've been an absolute degenerate for 4 months
Yeah.
now.
How much time are you spending on NFTs? Because I think when you were back Nifty Gateway, like you run an e-commerce agency,
Yeah.
and then obviously we've been in touch a bunch, and I like to ask you every time we talk, how many clients you've like gotten. I mean, your like family are like running the business now, but it's just funny because I've kind of taken the same sort of path where I went from being interested in DeFi to now, if I'm not doing something within DeFi, I feel like it's like a negative ROI on my time.
Totally. So I got like really lucky that for like the past 6 months or like a year, I've been really ramping up my two brothers, Jack and Eli, like in terms of their responsibilities at Ecomly. So in May, I was like down to like three clients, and I passed two of them off in the past couple of months to my brothers, and they're running the agency great, and I'm helping out where I can, but they're really running the show. Other than I have like two clients still that I'm doing work for. So for those two clients, I'm probably putting in like 15 hours a week, and I'm putting in like 50, 60 hours a week on NFTs. It's crazy
Yeah.
because like I've done all sorts of things. Like not only have I done like the minting, but I've gotten into like the building of projects. I was a consultant on a couple projects like in July, and that really opened my eyes to like the quick monies in flipping, but like you could really build something great. And I was
Yeah.
lucky enough to get on the Crypto Raiders team recently, so I've been grinding that. But yeah, it's like more than a full-time job for me right now, just because the amount of money that I can make every month like far exceeds the opportunity cost anywhere else, like you just said. And
Right.
that may change eventually, but I'm gonna ride it as long as I can.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that because you've basically now you actually have a sort of career in NFTs.
Yeah.
Like you consult on projects.
Yep.
I know that you've worked on a couple like voxels, maybe Crypto Raiders.
Yep.
And how did they reach out to you, and how have you basically, you know, come out of nowhere as far as, you just got interested in NFTs and then now you're being a consultant on NFT projects?
Yeah, well, like the nice thing is that like even back in like March and April, like I saw that there is so much interest and such a lack of like information that I knew like I would never want to call myself like an influencer, because you know what I'm saying, but like
I
I
call you
knew
an
that
influencer.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. But I knew that I had enough experience that I could like at least like guide people on Twitter and YouTube videos and stuff like that. I did a lot of podcasts with NFT culture. They're awesome.
Hmm.
And they really helped me like get more exposure to like my brand. Um, and so then I like was able to build like a Twitter following of like a couple of thousand, and that's like enough where projects will like start to be interested in like working with you. Now the problem is that like I worked with a project earlier on, and it like the roadmap was so good, but it just like didn't work out, and I got like a little
Hmm.
bit of blowback for it not really like working out spectacularly. And I get so many DMs of just like random projects that like, oh, we want to launch like this like zoo animal
Yeah.
NFT, and I've like started to learn that like it's not worth it for the like I only want to work on projects where like I truly believe in the long term, and I'd want to like
Hmm.
associate like my name with it. So like Crypto Raiders was like a no-brainer for me because I'm a gamer from being young.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is like a passion project for me, and I love the roadmap and love the devs. So hopped into that one. So like now my bandwidth is like pretty much like completely full on the project side. So I'm not taking on like any new projects really for consulting. I'm just doing Crypto Raiders, and then like just doing the NFT flipping and minting and all of that. Because like the thing is like a lot of times like someone just wants you to be like a pumper or a promoter, and
Yeah.
they'll pay you like it sounds it's not chump change, right? But you get 10 ETH or something like that. But if you're like really involved with a project, like the amount of effort that you have to put in, you can usually
Hmm.
make more money just like flipping things short term.
Right.
So like basically for me it's like I can make more money flipping, minting, and I'll just like put all of my eggs into the Crypto Raiders basket, which is like worked out really well. It's done over 1,000 ETH in secondary volume. We have
That's crazy.
a token with like a fully diluted market cap of like 10 million. Like it's very exciting stuff going on there. So that's my passion project, and then the rest is literally just like flipping and minting.
Hmm.
Because like I'm lucky enough that since I have like close to like 8 months experience in the NFT space, I it's I can get my win rate up on some of these things. Like I
Yeah.
know how to read the trends and like what's going to be a good project potentially. I still have like tons of misses and get tons of things like completely wrong. The NFT space has gotten so big now that you really can't absorb all of the information, especially now there's like Solana and Tezos. There's
Yeah.
just so much out there that like it's impossible to keep up with everything. So you're going to make some misses, but it's been a wild ride, and it's been very lucrative.
Yeah. And I want to talk about that because I feel like you can be in, there's NFTs and there's DeFi, and to try to go deep or be an expert in both is really difficult. Like I have gotten a bunch of NFTs, but I'm not good at finding them. And I also hate paying gas fees, which means I'm never going to make it in the NFT space.
The gas
And
fees
I
are
also,
brutal.
they are brutal, and it's also not consumer friendly.
No.
So
And it doesn't
like
make any
to,
logical sense. It's like the money should stay in the ecosystem. Like 30% of the mint shouldn't be going to miners. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of like the cards we're dealt right now, I guess.
right, but I think that NFTs on Ethereum are obviously like that's the top network. But I also know as someone that's been using Ethereum for like the last 18 months to trade, using Ethereum gets more and more painful the
Yeah.
more gas I have to pay. And
Yep.
when I use other chains like Avalanche or Polygon, it's just so much nicer because you don't have that punch in
It's
your
so much
stomach
nicer.
every time you pay gas fees.
Exactly.
So is there going to be a point where like really good projects launch over on different chains?
Yeah, I think so. Like we built Crypto Raiders on Polygon. We started on Ethereum, and then we just ported everything over to Polygon because what we realized is like if you think about a game, like you want to not just trade the character, but you want to trade all of the items and like the cheap potions, right? So like imagine there's a potion in a game with like a value of 0.001 ETH, right? It's impossible to
Right.
work on mainnet because you'll pay 100 times that in gas. Versus on Matic, it's so disgustingly cheap that
Hmm.
like we can facilitate all of these trades, and people pay absolutely like pennies on the dollar in gas. So someone said something smart where they think that like what could likely happen is that like other chains will like kind of specialize in different sectors. So like Matic maybe for
Yeah.
like gaming because like Sandbox is going there, Zed runs there, yada yada yada. Like another chain maybe for something else. But yeah, like a Neopets. I don't know if you've heard of that game. It's like an old school game, kind of like Habba Hotel, and they're apparently
Yeah.
launching on Solana. So that's like very big for Solana. So um, I think that if you're in the NFT space, like the easiest money is to be made on Ethereum right now, but like you have to
Yeah.
be ready and willing to like quickly pivot and like get opportunities in other platforms in the future.
So if someone's watching this and they want to get into NFTs, firstly, does it have to be a full-time job? One. And then is what you've done sort of replicable? I mean, you've kind of started from scratch, learned the industry, and then done a bunch of flips. Like, what would you want to teach someone that wants to get into NFTs?
Yeah, great question. So I think that um I think that so what was the first part of the question?
Like, how replicable is what you've done? Because you've made.
Yeah.
We don't go into the
Yeah, and then
amount, but
also can you do it like a full-time job, right? Is what you
yeah,
said. Okay.
or if you want to have the success that you've had,
Yeah.
does it have to become like this is what I'm doing all day, every day?
Yeah, because I think that there's like the fun thing about NFTs is that there's so many different strategies that you can like execute. So like I'm up until recently because I've been trying to hold a little bit more, but like I've been like a minter and I've been like a flipper. So I would look to like mint a good project because minting, if you nail a good project, minting is where you can get 5 to 10 X's very quickly. So like I minted Winter Bears the other day. I got in high on the gas end, 0.1 average cost, and they shot up to like 0.65 today. So that's like a
Wow.
5x in 48 hours. That's a lot harder to get like on the swing trading. But like back in the day, in early August or late July, I bought a couple of punks and flipped them all for like double, like in like a week span. So like that's my like move.
Mm-hmm.
And up until recently, I didn't really like to like buy projects and really like hold on them for long. I was kind of like an in and out player. The strategy I use, I think it's a lot harder to do if you're like not wanting to go in full time. But
Yeah.
because like to be able to hit the right mints, to be able to like see the opportunities, like a new news will come out. So like creatures. Shaq made a creature NFT, his profile pic, and it exploded the
Yeah.
floor. And like that news came out like that. So like if you heard that news and you got in right away, you make it 2x in like an hour or two. But like if you are an hour or two late, you're at the top.
Right.
So if someone wants to do it with way less time, what you want to do is you want to just find great projects that you believe in, that you think have high upside, and you just want to buy them and sit on them. That's like I personally know some people in our Slack community. One of the guys, like he minted like 30 Bored Ape Yacht Clubs like 2 months ago and did nothing on his wallet until they got to 40 ETH, and then just like sold 3 and is like up a huge amount, right? But like the amount of effort he put in was 2 hours, 3 hours, and made a huge gain. So like it is possible for NFTs, like if you just buy the right projects. So like for example, Supducks is a cool project that's like up to
Mm-hmm.
3.5 ETH. It's set at 0.2, 0.3 for like a month. So like if you just like the art, like the project, you could have went in and just thrown 5 ETH at it and just not logged back in for a month, and you'd be up more than most people that are like doing what I'm doing. So if you don't have a lot of time, like that's the strategy I would go for. I think the
Yeah.
strategy that I have is pretty replicable, especially like if you invest in getting into like private discords that have really good information, because they're going to make sure that your success rate is higher. That's probably the biggest problem that newbies are going to deal with, is that they're just going to be picking the wrong projects, or they're going to be like minting the wrong projects. um
And
and
how do you know when there's a good project? So let's be on the private Discord.
yeah.
One thing I've noticed, although this wasn't true for Bored Ape Yacht Club, is when the mint goes slowly. Usually, I'm not interested. It's usually only if it goes fast. But then I heard the Bored Ape Yacht Club went really slowly, so that could be complete
Well, also
BS.
Bored Ape Yacht Club was at a different time.
Mm-hmm.
So like Bored Ape Yacht Club was launched in the midst of the NFT bear market, where there's headline news that like NFTs are dead. You know what I mean? They launched at the bottom. If they launched today, like let's assume they didn't exist, but like the art's great. If they launched today, they would sell out in 5 minutes. So I think like, but having said that, I think that good projects still can like slow mint. The nice thing about a slow mint is like the community can build over time and get invested in the project. So crypto raiders, it actually took us 2.5 weeks to sell out. And anybody that minted the project is up 30x right now.
Wow.
With all the airdrops we've done and everything. Like if you threw in $1,000 into crypto raiders 2 months ago and just like didn't come back, you'd have 30 grand sitting in your wallet in value. So like slow minting is definitely not like a terrible sign. And projects still can succeed, but like in the environment now. So like, for example, also because so many people have so many different tools and they're in these discords that the news moves quick. So like Haba Hotel today is like a great example where, 48 hours ago it sold like 200, 24 hours ago it sold like 400, and then it kind of popped up on my radar, and within an hour and a half it went through 9,500 mints. Because what happens is once people start seeing volume, they ape in based on the volume, and that creates more volume and more mania, especially if it's like a good project. So and also the thing is for people too, especially experienced minters, they don't want to like mint the first 500 and then the project never sells out. Like a lot of minters are sitting there and they're waiting for the project to get that volume and then get past like 50% sold out. And then they're like, okay, like this thing sold out 50% already in 2-3 hours. I'm going in. It's definitely going to sell out. I like the project.
So this project, what's it called? I actually minted 4, but I only did it because you told me to.
Avatar NFTs.
So Nick also told me to buy Bored Ape Yacht Club when it was 1 ETH, and I think I got distracted, and then suddenly it was 3 ETH, and
you're like, it's too much. Then it's like that's such a tough thing. Like when you miss that rise up, and then you're like, can it go further?
And now they're what, 50 ETH? I don't even.
40 ETH. If it makes you feel any better, I held 0 of my apes beyond like 8 or 9 ETH. So I missed a lot of the upside too. But I'm lucky. I've hit like a lot of wins. So I actually had a huge sale on Mutant Ape Yacht Club. I had like an 88 ETH sale.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
It was absolutely insane. I mean, it was pure luck. That's the thing about like minting, is like part of the fun part is like the RNG and like the gamble. Like, so for like winter bears, I minted 20. I didn't get any rares, but it's still up like a 5 or 6x. But if I had hit like a really high rare, like I could have sold it probably for like 6, 7, 8 ETH right now, and like in just with one sale, like 4x my investment and still hold like 19. So I got super lucky. I minted like 6 mutant apes, and for anyone that doesn't know, this was like the Meebits equivalent to punks. So Bored Ape Yacht Club created mutant apes, and like 10,000 were free to claim by Bored Apes people, and then the other 10,000 were like able to be minted. But I guess in order to like kind of prevent like a crazy gas war, they didn't tell anyone about that part. And so like I once again benefit of private Discord. I was upstairs. I literally had the bath running. I'm sitting on the toilet. I'm ready to go in the bath, and like I see someone say like, "Holy crap! Like you can mint mutants." And I literally just sprint downstairs. I minted like 6 of them, and I hit like a top 100 rare one.
Yeah.
And I was able to flip it for like 88 ETH, which was bonkers.
Yeah, within 8 hours, 12 hours?
I literally minted it at 9 p.m. And the funniest thing is because like when you have a super rare, like price discovery is like super uncertain. So I literally listed it at like 100 ETH at first, and then I was like, it's never going to sell here. Went down to 50. It sat at 50 for like 2 hours. And then right before I went to bed, I was like, I'm going to do like a angelic number. So I did 88.8 ETH. Fell asleep, like woke up the next morning, and like the OpenSea, like your item has sold, was in my wallet, and I was like ecstatic. It was such a big guap.
Yeah, Joel's what's minting. Minting is just the initial project to basically put it into circulation, enable it to trade, and minting happens usually on the project's website, and then the secondary sales happen on OpenSea.
OpenSea, exactly.
What Nick's saying is Bored Ape Yacht Club came out with another project called Mutant Apes, and he minted, how much was the mint? Because I remember messaging him, like, 2.5 ETH.
It was pretty expensive.
And I was like, do I want to do this? I messaged Nick. I'm like, should I do this? He's like, why not? I'm like, that's a good reason to say. I still have mine. I haven't sold it, but I mean, I could. I feel like I don't hold on to NFTs long enough to
Same.
really see an impact. One thing, my best NFT flip has been the Disto Punks that I minted for
Yeah,
like
those were
0.1 ETH,
huge. Yeah,
and I minted 5. I sold 4 of them for like between 1 ETH and 4 ETH. And then I
huge
have
pop.
1 left, which I'm, trying to diamond on and see how far we can go.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is like the if you mint a good project and you hold like you did, that's where most of the money or a lot of the money is made. So like there was another project, Groupies, that I minted and like I sold and made like 2 or 4 ETH profit, but it just skyrocketed the other day. If I had held, I would have made like 20 ETH profit. It's a hard game. It's just like what you said earlier about DeFi. Like you're gonna have your
Yeah,
you sell it for 2x and it rips to 30x and you just feel brutal about it.
I know. It's like even if you have 100x in NFTs, it could go to 1,000x and you'll still
Yeah.
be pissed off at yourself for selling. It makes, I think crypto, just the amount of FOMO in NFTs and crypto is insane.
Well, I mean, Cool Cats, you could have minted those at 0.02 and the floor is 9 ETH. I don't know the math on
Crazy.
that, but 0.02, that's a 450x. Right? So you could have thought you were a genius and sold it at 100x at 2 ETH, and then it went up another 4.5 times that. So like
One thing,
if you put in 1 ETH into like Cool Cats, you're a multi-millionaire.
I'm so mad.
It's bonkers. Like the game is bonkers.
One thing I'm really not good at is like only picking NFTs that I like the art of, which I realize doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't
And
matter at all.
I'm an idiot.
Literally,
I
Kat,
do
I
think
went
you should
into
create that diamond hands thing where you like
I know
put
where
it
you
into
put
a
it in the
vault and you
vault.
can't sell it.
Exactly. I think it's like people would love it. Like you could set different month locks, like a 4-month lock, a 6-month lock, or whatever. But I went into Barnes and Noble and I went into the children's section and like the art in there looked like half of the NFTs that are like crushing it right now on OpenSea. And that's like the
Yeah,
thing is like Cool Cats. Like if you look at the art, like it's very basic. It's very
right.
basic. So you'd be like, how the hell is this thing 9 ETH? 30 grand for one of them. And I mean, it definitely is ludicrous, even being in the game. Like some of these things like don't make sense, but
Hmm.
if there's money to be made, there's money to be made.
And have you got a better idea of what the life cycle looks like? So how do you know you're at the top or are we mid-cycle? How do you gauge, okay, do we think we're going to go higher? And then what impact does the price of ETH have on the NFT market? Those are
Yeah,
2
great question.
questions.
So like um for like the NFT cycles, the last time I thought we were at the top was like July 4th. Then we exploded past that. So I've like promised myself like I'm not gonna. Basically, my strategy now is that like I'm lucky I've made a good amount of money, so like I only have a portion of that still actively trading, and if I lost all of that portion, I'd still be up and I wouldn't be sad about it. But
Yeah,
what I think is that the biggest bearish thing I see on the horizon is that like so many people that trade NFTs, it's not like Ethereum maxis that just bought and held Ethereum. They don't have to worry about capital gains taxes. Um, but like a lot of people trade NFTs, and most of those people are going to, at the end of the year, realize that they're going to have like
a
big
lot of.
tax bills. Yeah, exactly. And like so that could be like a potential, bearish catalyst on the horizon. But there's just so many new and better projects coming in and so much interest in the space and celebrities coming in that it's like really hard to say that there will like be a top. I think it's like more likely there's going to be a lot of movement between like individual projects and stuff like that, and certain projects will rise and fall. But I use this I'll post the link. I use this Dune Analytics graph just to keep
Hmm.
just linked it over to you to keep an eye on like the daily volume, so you can kind of just like see, so like we peaked on August 29th. We've never gotten close to that volume again, and we had this big drop all the way down to like September 10th. People were getting a little worried, and now we've been like chopping in that range ever since. But if you look back at like July, we're still.
Do you want to
like,
share your screen on here? I can't
Yeah.
look at XY. I can't look at XYZs.
Yeah, let me pull this up. Share screen. Alrighty. Boom. So this is just like this thing pulls from Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you can see that like all the way back in like July, OpenSea was doing like $8 to $10 million in volume a day, and now we do like even after this pullback, we do like 80 to 100 million a day. So it's still like 10x where we were in July. We haven't gotten back up to that like blow off top, which was like $322 million in a day. But like if this like was like slowly fading really badly, like back to July numbers, that'd be like super bearish. But like I use this to keep a tab on it, and then since I'm in the game so often, I can kind of see if like volume is slowing down, this and that. But my personal take is to like stay nimble.
Yeah. And what other tools do you use to like track your NFT stuff?
Yeah, so I use icy tools, so they're great. Like icy tools, you can use. So you can like discover, so you can see like top mints. So this is how I found like Habba Hotel. So you can see like trending mints, and then you can just see like trending secondary market volume as well. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good in my opinion. And then I use just a lot of OpenSea like activity feed. So if you just go over here.
Yeah, you're the one that taught me how to do this.
Yeah, exactly. So just like you can kind of just scroll and you can like see what projects are like selling really well. So like there's like a winter bear at 0.45. So like I can go over here and I can type in winter bear. Then you can just like drill down and you can get an idea of like, okay, the average price and the volume. So you can see for like the past like 2 hours, a lot of sales in like the 0.4, 0.5 range. This is like consolidation volume. This is not like explosion volume.
How do you differentiate between the volumes? Like, okay, this is exploding.
Yeah, so like this is good volume, but it looks like, a little less than like 1 per minute. So like a project isn't going to like double in price with like this amount of volume. But like if we look at like Habbo Avatars, which launched today, so like they're having, multiple a minute, right? There's like 5 that happened in this 1 minute. There's like 3 that happened in this minute. So you can already see like, we've scrolled down a few times and we're only at like 20 minutes. Exactly. Yeah. So like you can tell this is like explosive volume. Now the thing is like ideally like you want to catch this when this first starts rolling, right? Like it's been rolling at this volume for like hours. I'm still bullish on the project at this price, but like you're not going to double your money instantly at this price. But I mean, like, look, like I'm still scrolling and we haven't even gotten to, and you can see like right here, like look at this, like one account just bought like the crap out of some of them on secondary. So you can go see like it looks like they hide all their trades too, so they're trying to be sneaky. But yeah, so like
how are they hiding your trades?
Because they have nothing in their collection.
Oh, so they're moving it to another wallet,
or they're it looks like they're just
hiding their interesting.
Yeah, so they don't want people to like read their alpha, but like if you see whales aping in or something like that could be a really good sign.
Well, you could just go to their wallet address and see what's in there on Etherscan, then,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so if you see someone and they have like $1 million in the wallet, they're like, okay, this person's probably not in it to like flip for 10%, right? They're going to accumulate and they're looking for like a 5 or 10x or something like that.
Can you go to that person and see what else they have in their wallet?
Yeah, since they have it hidden, you can't see like anything else in the wallet. But if you go to Etherscan, oh yeah, this is one of Coco Bear's alts potentially. Oh wait, this is the contract address. What's going on here? Super weird. Like a contract address bought a bunch. I think this is Coco Bear, and this guy's like
424 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy has 50 million, no, $200 million in Axie and like $200 million in Kongs. Like Giga
Wow.
Bear. Yeah, absolutely, like Giga Bear. But like that's a lot of what I'm doing. So like that's where like this is where I get like a lot of like secondary or like volume information. But then like private discords is where I find out about like good projects to like mint and stuff like that.
What are your
And they're not
favorite private Discord, or what are your favorite like public Discords?
yeah, my favorite public Discord is NFT culture. Um and NFT culture has like good public alpha. Um And then I'm a part of this private Discord called Nevin's Underground, and you have to buy the token to get in. I think it's like for like the general VIP, like they got like 2 tiers, but like I think you can get in for like half an ETH or maybe an ETH or something like that. Um, but you're gonna get like really good alpha of like what people with a lot of money and are really successful at
Yeah.
this, like what they're buying, what they're minting,
And do
etc.
you,
But like you have to be glued to the computer because like the Discord chat's flying.
oh yeah. Yeah, you pretty much I think with NFTs even maybe slightly more than DeFi have to be like really connected to your phone at all times.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what you'll probably see is like more DAOs probably, right? Where like people just say like,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is a group of 3 or 4 really good traders. Like if you don't want to trade yourself, just like, buy into their DAO and they'll do it for you or something like that." Because yeah, it's like impossible like the Habbo thing sold out in like in 90 minutes, right? But it sold out in 20 minutes after I tweeted about it and literally like people were messaging me and they're like, "I was in the shower." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, what can you do? You're in the shower. Like, you can't predict that you needed to see a tweet
You
within a
just
20
don't
minute span.
shower.
Just don't shower.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I only shower like once a week.
There was a time when like I would go to the gym and bring my laptop to the gym because every time for probably like a week I would go there, something would happen and I'd come back and like our group would be like, "Oh, I just made, 5 ETH on this flip and it's already too late." I'm like, "Fuck,
Yeah,
that was the most
exactly.
expensive workout ever."
Yeah, it's so tough. And I mean, like some people actually have like mobile MetaMask wallets, so they can do like mobile trading and stuff like that. I don't do it. I'm just too nervous about doing it. But like this is a project, like this is where you can kind of see like the graph data. So this project
Mhm.
Groupies, I minted it and you can see it had like a lot of volume, like 4,000 sales like the first day, but the price went like all the way down to like 0.15 ETH. And then you can see like the volume pick up, it goes to 0.3, consolidates there, then boom, another pop. And now the floor is like 0.8, 0.9. So like you can see like you don't want to buy it when it's popping necessarily, right? Because like if you bought this day, average price is 0.6, you're only up like 15 or
Mhm.
20%. But if you had like accumulated down here, you're up like 4 or 5x. So like the game can be like a little counterintuitive where people think that since people think that like they want to buy when it looks bullish. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Probably a lot of the same things with like DeFi and tokens and stuff like that, right? Is like a lot of people like they buy into like the upswing, but they miss so much of the upside. Really, like the alpha and secondary is to like buy the great projects that are like have been quietly sitting there for like a week or two, and they have like a great team, great community, da 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 da. Like accumulate when it's quiet, and then you sell into the rip, and like that's where you make a lot of money. So like creatures, which I mentioned. Um,
I think it's just difficult to know like if it is a good project because
yeah,
if you're not seeing a lot of volume, I mean, a lot of people obviously get to NFTs to trade it and swing it, but then there's also projects where it's there's going to be a game behind it or there's more than it just being like a JPEG. And so, how do you differentiate between a project with like decent art that's selling than like, oh, this art's really good, but it doesn't have that a ton of volume, but I know it's a good project and I'm going to accumulate when it's lower?
yeah, and I mean that's the tricky, interesting thing that like like a lot of people say like a great like I think we've pretty much determined that like the quote unquote like we're not trading fine art here, right? Like the quality or like the artistic ingenuity of the NFT isn't necessarily what's going to make it a success, right? There's a lot of projects out there that you could say visually look way cooler than Cool Cats, but is 100 times less in price or something like that. So my like working theory like right now is it's more about the community, but not meaning like the community in Discord just spamming Discord. It's like it's
Yeah.
more like who's in the community, right? So this is when it's valuable, and like Twitter is such a great resource for like alpha and all sorts of things, because if you see like smart people like a project and are buying a project, and those smart people aren't like, and no offense to people that do this, I did this at a point in time, that like smart money is usually not trying to flip for a 20 or 30%, right? They're trying to go for a
Yeah.
2, 3, 5, 10x. So they're gonna hold that supply and like, you know, not be flipping and like suppressing it. So like Creatures, Gary V was super and still is super bullish on these. So that's like a really good sign. And then there's a lot of other like influential people that like the project. So that's a good sign. And then you can say that like the art's like interesting and cool. And also like the artist, Danny Cole, he's been in MoMA, in like, you know, he's like he's a successful artist, a very successful artist.
Mhm.
So like that's another good sign. And so, you know, like this project, like you could literally have bought in like right around 1 ETH for probably like 2 weeks. I got in
Mhm.
during this week where it was like 1.3, and you can see it's just like slowly kind of accumulating, not doing too much, and then boom, it goes up to 3 ETH in 3 days, right? And has like a big pop in volume. And so like for me, that project, I bought 6, so that's like, you know, a nice like 2x right now, and maybe I'll sell a couple and then like try to you know, ride the rest out further. So yeah, that's the thing, like, because I used to be, you know, a couple months ago, like, this art sucks or da 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 da. The other important thing is like the developers or like the team behind it, right? Because a lot of the value growth in these projects are when by owning these projects, you're getting like airdrops or rewards, right? And then that's what like takes the value up over time, you know? Because so if you think about like Bored Ape Yacht Club, if you owned an ape, right? Like let's say you got in around 1 ETH, right? The ape itself is 40 ETH, so you made a huge X there. But you got airdropped a free mutant, which is 4.5 ETH, and a free dog, which is 3 ETH, right? So they've already airdropped 7.5 ETH in value to the community. And when you look at that relative to 40 ETH, you know, that's like almost, that's 20% basically of the value of the NFT has been also given back for free. And so some of the pricing of these NFTs is almost like they're like a growth tech company, right? Like they're
Mhm.
trading at like what's like the expected like future value for like owning one. Because if you think about like on a 2 to 3 year horizon, what's the likelihood that Bored Ape Yacht Club generates another 32 ETH for every holder? It's probably pretty decently likely. So then the 40 ETH value kind of makes sense. And a lot of the other top, you know, projects that are like trending right now, which you can see right here in the rankings. So like, you know, Galactic Apes or Cool Cats, you know, Lazy Lions. This is an interesting one. They're up at like 2. You could have bought these in at like 0.06, 0.08. This one's wild. Cryptodes, 4 ETH floor, right? And then if you look at these, it may not like make sense, right? But like
Right.
the reason why these are valued where they are is because like people like Andy loves these, right? And like a lot of like
Right.
the CryptoPunks community loves these, right? So these people, they're buying and they're not like trying to sell it for like 1 ETH profit, right? They're like holders, and that, you know, increases the value significantly.
Yeah, because I was on I recorded an NFT 101 video and I was showing like, okay, the floor price. And when I went to CryptoPunks, there was no floor price, and I realized it was because they had none listed for sale.
Yeah, because all of their trading is on Larva Labs website.
Oh, you can't even buy it on OpenSea?
You can wrap a punk and then like sell it on OpenSea, but like the volume there is like very low compared to the like what's
Larva Lab.
actually selling on Larva Labs. But so that's why they can't see the floor price, but it still pulls in the sales data, so you can
Got
still
it.
see like there's some, you know, good price action. Actually, there's like a lot of volume over the past decent amount of volume over the past 24 hours, like, you know, 2000 ETH, good amount of sales.
How do you, so obviously you're pretty public with your like your mutant ape and everything like that. And of course, we just showed it before that wallets are transparent. How do you deal with that as just like a human if you're like, okay, I don't want to, you know, I'm pretty transparent with the internet, but I don't want to share everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, so I mean, like a lot of people, like they trade with like multiple wallets. So I have like some private wallets that like I trade that like isn't my like core wallet. But like I'm not really like worried about people like necessarily like like seeing my trades. But I mean, it is a weird thing. Like if you think about like on the stock market, right? Like you could make like $5 million in the stock market, and if you didn't tell anyone, would anyone know, right? Versus like if you make 5 million in NFTs or in DeFi, like they can just look at your wallet address, right? It's like right
Yeah.
there, front and center. It's like super like transparent. Um, and actually, that's like one of like the interesting things of like NFTs. Like since everything's like public, like I've like sold out of like projects before, and I get like flamed on Twitter for it. You know what I mean? Because like people like take it as
Right.
like a personal attack against their beliefs. When I'm just like, hey, I'm like, it's no offense. I'm just trying to make money here.
Right. That's so funny when people make it like a religion.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, like if someone wants to sell, they want to sell. Like if you're so confident in your project, then you should be happy that someone that is trying to exit is giving the NFT to someone that's trying to enter and probably likes the project, right? Like so.
Yeah. Also, you're already kicking yourself for the projects you sold anyway. So you're like, I
Exactly.
punished myself enough.
Exactly. Exactly. I punish myself way more than enough. I don't need your help.
All right. So what are you looking at right now? Like if someone is just coming onto the stream and
Yeah.
maybe they don't have an NFT yet, or like
Yeah.
what you have a pretty good sense and got over, you know, what looks good. And let's talk about that. And then I want to go into beyond the personal profile picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So like what I'm looking at like right now is I think that like I personally think that there's a lot of money probably to be made in projects that are like 0.5 to like 1.5 ETH. I said it like a couple of weeks ago because if you think like Bored Apes has like moved up so much and like Punks has moved up so much, and like if you think about like the entrance into NFTs, what kind of disposable income do they have into NFTs? Most people are probably a lot of people are bringing in a couple $100 or $2,000, but like let's say like a lot, it's attracting a lot of like tech people, right? And like a tech person
Yeah.
may have 30 to 100K to put into an NFT or like into a portfolio of NFTs. So they're probably priced out of like a punk or like an ape. That'd be a huge risk just to buy one NFT. So a lot of them are looking for great projects that are probably 0.5 to 1.5 ETH. And these newcomers are probably going to, diamond hand some things and move some things up. So I think there's a good amount of money in that range. And then I think if you're
Mhm.
if you're good at minting and you understand like the projects to look for, that's still, quite profitable, like right now. And in terms of the real like that, and that's the thing too, is I think it's like about being like selective. Like most people should probably play secondary. Minting's hard. You can lose all your money on a bad mint.
Yeah.
And you have to know the right projects to hit. Like today, probably 8 projects launched, probably 2 of them are profitable, but one of those 2 is probably really profitable. Versus like secondary, if you like say, hey, okay, there's this project, this cool project, it's 0.5 ETH. People are liking it. I like the community. I like the people that are adopting it, using it in their profile pics. Like that's where I think on secondary some like good bets can be made. I'm personally not buying anything like over 5 ETH and stuff like that, just because I don't want like that risk profile right now.
Yeah, I think the most I've spent was like the Mutant Ape 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It gets
unless
hard
it's an
going above that.
established project,
Yeah.
it's
Well, and
just
like also like if you buy something that's
risky.
like 5 ETH, like it has to get to 10 ETH just for you to 2x, versus like you can take that 5 ETH and you can go buy a project that's like 0.5 ETH. And if it goes to 2.5, well, now you've turned like that 5 into 25. And also like on the lower bands, there's usually a little bit more liquidity, so you can get in and out
Yeah.
with like a little bit less of like a loss if things don't work out for you.
So what's obviously there's a lot of like profile pictures, but now, with Bored Apes and the CryptoPunks, they're talking about like being able to rent out your NFT, or I know with Zed Run, you can actually make money on you were the first person to tell me like, oh, I'm basically making money on horse races of, you know, NFT horses.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, what's going to be the thing where it's actually giving you income in some
Yeah.
way?
Yeah. So like I on like so like the loaning thing is super interesting, especially with the Twitter news that they're gonna allow you to like verify NFTs as your profile pic. So I think we'll definitely see some of that kind of like loaning stuff come up. That's super interesting. Um, and then like in terms of like these like other project, like I'm pretty bullish on like gaming or like metaverse applications. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
made nearly as much money on those as I've made on the profile pics because like the profile pics is like what's hot right now. Um, but like I do think that a lot of people are going to want to get utility or income out of their, you know, NFTs or be able to do things with them. Like I just don't think that for like the average person on a long-term 2 or 3 horizon, they want to just be sitting on like 400 PFPs. Like
Right.
maybe I'm dead wrong, but I think like eventually the market shifts where like you're using these things or you're doing things with them. Um, you know, Axie Infinity, they have like a big scholarship program. So that's the same kind of like rent to play thing. And there's a whole play to earn mechanic with that. So I'm super excited about like the gaming space for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also think that there's going to just be like different projects that we can't even probably like think of right now. That'll be interesting. But like the profile pic stuff, like the thing is that so many people are doing it and it's so easy for people to understand and they've like built this
Yeah.
process that it's like hard for them to want to like shift to a completely different sector like gaming or one out of one art or like stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I played Nintendo games, so not the games that used like Call of Duty or whatever, where you were actually buying stuff in the game.
Yeah.
Um, you were talking about that in the last time we talked of, you know, you're buying real estate in a virtual world. You're
Yeah.
buying, you know, weapons for, I think on Solana, they have the Star Atlas
Yep.
spaceships.
Yeah, so I bought like into like some Star Atlas. The tricky thing right now is that like since it is starting to get trendy to be like a game or a play to earn game, there's so many projects out there like saying that they're going to be play to earn. Um,
Yeah.
but the thing is, like if you look at like the gaming industry, like out there, there's like a ton of projects that come out from indie studios, and only like a few of them are hits. Like a lot of these people are just slapping play to earn, and they probably don't even have a dev on the team that can
Yeah.
actually build a game. They're going to try to raise some money and then they're going to try to hire some devs to build a game. And that's a very complex thing to do. You know
Right.
what I mean? So like you want to be only betting on teams like Illuvium or Star Atlas where it's just so obvious they have like a legit studio just because of the content that they're pushing out.
Right.
Or like for example with like Crypto Raiders, like people have seen the progress of what we've shipped. They know like okay,
Mhm.
there's actual developers versus there's some other projects that launched at the same time as us and they still haven't released anything. Um, and also when you look at the fact that like Habba Hotel, right? They just came in. Neopets is saying that they're coming. There's going to be competition from existing games in existing studios. It's not going to be the Call of Duties. It's not going to be the AAA studios. It's going to be these like indie studios. They're seeing how much money is in the NFT space. They're going to like try to integrate their games into
Yeah.
there. And that's where I think like a lot of the money is. Like there's going to be new projects launching that are like play to earn games that since you get in so early, they're going to be massive guaps, but you have to be selective there. But I think like probably over the next 6 months, we see a lot of like existing games poured in. And that's where I think there's like some exciting money to be made because if you position yourself really early, then there's going to be a lot of people coming in that maybe don't even do NFTs, but they like the game. And so now they have to come in on top of you in the NFT space.
Yeah. I think Neopets is launching on Solana
Yep.
in like a week or so.
Yeah. So that one's going
And
to be huge.
yeah, that's going to be big.
Yeah.
Before we go, Dieter's asking what you think of the Atom Bomb project. I don't even know what
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is.
So I have a couple buddies that are really bullish on it. And that project definitely like checks off some boxes for me. Like it's a reputable team behind it, well-known team behind it. They've been doing art for a very long time, or like street art, streetwear, whatever you want to call it, for a very long time. And then there's a lot of whales and big money that is bullish on it. The only challenging thing is I think like the mint was like super high, like 25,000 or something like that.
Wow.
But I do think that like Atom Bomb could be one of those projects that like does well and like moves up to like a 1 ETH floor or something like that because it does check off the boxes of like smart money's invested, good team. What probably makes it pop is like 2 or 3 weeks from now, they're going to come out with like some update to their roadmap or like an airdrop they're going to do or something that some utility play, and that's what'll probably make it pump.
All right, so I'll buy some.
Yeah. I'm
Cool.
broke after
All
my
right.
Habo bet.
Oh yeah, how many did you mint?
Like 50.
Nice.
Yeah,
How
we
much
bonked
gas
on
did you pay for that?
ETHs,
ETHs.
multiple ETHs.
Yeah, I think mine was 0.8 ETH, and I almost didn't do it, but last time I didn't listen to your advice. I didn't get a Bored Ape, so
I think this could like work out just because like I on Twitter I just saw so many people that like nostalgia. They're like, oh my god, I played this as a kid. Like I have to go buy it now. Like I think so many people are gonna want to see, and that's the cool thing about games is like a lot of people want to see where it's going, and so they'll hold, and so you can get some like really interesting like price appreciation for that. But like I wouldn't be surprised for it to like get over a 1 ETH floor, like going into the reveal. So October 5th is the reveal.
okay, awesome. And how is that? You think on rarity tools will be up, or is it going to be one of those cases where with the mutant apes it wasn't even up yet, and you just could tell that it was rare before it was even out?
Yeah, so like that's another benefit to these like private discords. So like the Nevins Underground that I'm in, um, it's totally worth the money because they like scrape the metadata like instantly, and then you can ping your like the IDs of your different NFTs, and you can see like what the metadata is, and you can see
Yeah.
like how rare it is, and that way you make sure you don't like sell a rare or anything like that. So like literally like Mutant Apes like it like 2x'd before the reveal. It was like 5 ETH, and I was like tempted to sell some, and I was like, nah, this is gonna be a mistake. And imagine if I had like
Oh
just
God.
flipped for 2x that one that was worth a crazy amount of money. I would have been so miserable. So with these, I'm definitely waiting for like the reveal to get the metadata, because if you hit a rare one, it's going to be I think a big payday.
Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna sell before the reveal, because I will
Oh yeah,
just not be able to
imagine
make
you
it.
like you're going to sell like the 100 ETH like wizard one.
Yeah, and I just will never be able to buy an NFT again. Last question. Dieter's asking, what do you think about Gary Vee bringing tons of people into the NFT space?
I think it's huge personally, and I think that like more and more people are going to get into it from like different avenues. But like Gary Vee has like pushed people in. Like I'm pretty sure he's the reason why Shaq has a creature as his NFT, because he loved the Creatures project. He was apparently calling Danny Cole, the creator, like every day saying, I want to pump your project, I want to pump your project. And he's like, not yet, not yet. So like Gary Vee is definitely bringing in like a lot of like smart minds and a lot of like smart money. So I personally love it. And I think we're going to see like, the thing is like when these normal game or like normal things, like when Disney does an NFT, right? When
Yeah.
Pokemon does an NFT, like that's when it's game changing. Like it's going to be, because then everyone is just going to get over onto this, unless they ban crypto or something crazy. But I
Well,
don't
I
think they're going
wonder,
to ban crypto. There's so many people coming in and bullish on it. They'd piss off so many people like banning NFTs or crypto or anything like that. So I don't think that's going to happen.
do you think they care about pissing people off? I
Yeah.
don't know about that.
Yeah.
If
Maybe
they can
not.
get money for it.
I'm just hoping that SBF has got Biden on speed dial, so he can call in, and
Oh yeah,
Solana's bullish on NFTs, so he'll make sure that doesn't get whacked.
sweet. Last thing, you talked about Twitter. You can follow Nick on Art Speculator. Who else should they be following in the NFT space to sort of, who's sharing alpha on Twitter as they're buying stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like Shamdu is a very good guy to like follow. He's literally in high school, and this guy's made like $2 million this year. But someone said Shamdu was minting the Winter Bears, and that's one of the reasons why I went in.
Okay.
Yeah. Then there's like a lot of alpha coming in like Twitter Spaces. So I do like a Twitter Spaces a lot of mornings with PO and
Mhm.
NFT Nick, and there's like some good alpha that like comes in there. But the thing is like everyone's gonna have like their hits and like their misses. So like no one's gonna have like 100% like win rate, but like um and also a lot of people aren't sharing like the juicy minting alpha, at least on Twitter. But like a
Yeah.
lot of like the like smart people out there will like at least share like secondary alpha, like, oh, I just bought 5 of these, I'm super bullish on it.
So it's not like they mint some and then they put it on Twitter.
Some people do, but a lot of those people that do it, potentially could be like shillers, where they're trying to like
Yeah.
pump and dump into you. But like Shamdu's like a really good one. I can't really think of any of the other ones, but like he was big on pudgy penguins, big on
Yeah.
pool cats, big on winter bears. So like and then there's like completely other people that are like really good with like art per se. Um Andy,
Do you think
fractional art
photography?
Andy, he's a good
Yeah.
one to follow.
How'd your fractional vault do with your different mutants?
Not well, but short term not well. Long term could be great. Essentially, what happened was is like we like locked it into this vault when they were at like 10 ETH. Now they're worth like
Mhm.
7, and like the vault will never really sell until they're worth like 15 ETH or 20 ETH. So essentially, it's like the Diamond Hands vault. It's stuck in there
Yeah.
until mutants go to the moon. So I like it. I kind of like even forgot it existed. Like I was talking with mutants the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I still have 3 mutants in that vault.
And it's just blocked in a smart contract where it, it's a price
Yeah, like
sort
we
of.
could still like we could buy all the tokens out and like move it out of it, but like I'm in it with like 3 other people, and we kind of just said like let's just hold it and like see what happens.
And how does that work? Just like, to, if anyone doesn't know like what fractional is.
Yeah, so like basically how like fractional works is like you can create a vault of like one or multiple NFTs, and then you like set like a start price, and then you set like a sell price, and then basically like creates a token, and then people can buy the token to like own like fractions of the vault, and then like whales will come in and they'll like buy out the vault, and like when the vault gets bought out, then like every token holder gets distributed money.
Got it. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, cool. Oh, last question. What does the price of ETH do for the NFT market?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So like that's like one thing that I think like it could really mess up NFTs in a decent way. Like we really don't know what gas looks like if ETH is like 4K consistently, or like
10K? Can you
5K, 10K exactly. Um, so I just like I think like we can sit in the 3K range and be fine. I mean, it was beautiful when it was 2K. The problem is that the more expensive it gets, it's like a tax on every transaction. It really hurts like the bottom end. So even right
Yeah.
now, like I'll buy an NFT secondary that's like 0.1, but then with gas, it's like 0.12 or 0.13. It's like a 20 or 30% tax. So I literally have like to sell it for that much more to like, make profit or make my money back or whatever. So, if it's at 4K or 5K, it's really going to crush like the lower band of the market. But I mean, also like theoretically, maybe that's why Ethereum isn't like skyrocketing, because like when it becomes unusable, then like the price kind of naturally like corrects itself. So it may just take some time for them to get out like sharding and better fixes or whatever down the road. But yeah, I am somewhat concerned about like ETH at 4 or 5K and like what it would do to NFTs. And honestly, what I think would happen was it was just send everyone to Polygon and Solana and
Mm,
Tezos until Ethereum fixes itself.
got it. Cool. Well, Nick, thanks so much for coming
Yeah, I
on
had a
here.
blast.
You've come a long way since Nifty Gateway.
Hey, I'm gonna hopefully a year from now I'm still trucking.
Yeah, for sure. NFT billionaire. All right.
Yeah, right. Don't
Talk
tax
to you
my
soon.
unrealized capital gains, please.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do about that?
I don't know.
Oh God, can you imagine? Unrealized?
Yeah, right. It's like, please no.
Sorry, I had a yacht accident. Just lost
Yeah,
lost my
seriously.
ledger. Cool. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.